Chodesh Tov, everybody. Somebody, now I spoke to somebody on the phone who's not really observant, and they were supposed to come somewhere, and I said, what's the delay? No, so they gave me an excuse. Oh no, it's for the honor of Rosh Chodesh. I said, okay, if that's your excuse, good. And they did something that involves something with joy. I said, no, Abdar comes in, משנכנס לדר מרבים בשמחה, I have to increase in joy, good. You can blame everything on the Rosh Chodesh. So we should all have a wonderful month. It's a change, a very big change. And I didn't just say the weather is better. Adar is a big shift in the universe, spiritually, changes everything, going towards the month of Aviv, the month of redemption. So we're doing good. It's a very good day, Baruch Hashem. And we're going to have a wonderful class about a very important, sensitive, valuable lesson and topic that we need to learn, internalize, and apply. And interestingly, last week, we spoke about, if you remember, if you follow the classes, we spoke about two opposites. Remember? Meat and dairy, wool and linen, not mixing the animals, not mixing seeds. So we were focused on the connection of two opposites. When do the two opposites have to be together, and when they should not? Now, if you're looking in our life, and we're making a quick analysis in our life, what are the biggest two opposites in our life? I don't know if opposites would be the right word, maybe polarity. In Hebrew it's called hafachim. You know, sometimes you see a husband and wife, one is pulling to this direction, one is pulling to that direction. Some might say this is not good for their marriage, some might say it's the best thing for the marriage, a plus and a minus. Two pluses not necessarily is good, or two minuses. So if we're looking in our life, and in a very general way, we want to focus on one of the biggest two opposites, the polarity, the two differences that are very dominating in our life. One of them would be the motion of giving, and the other one will be the motion of taking. Two different things, right? In Hebrew, to give means latet, and a person can be constantly in a motion of giving. It can be giving love, attention, affection, money, help, assistance, doesn't matter what. And that can be to my spouse, my kids, my co-workers, strangers. And the complete opposite from that is taking. In Hebrew, the word is lakachat, to take something. And that can be, again, I can take something spiritual, emotional, physical, from my spouse, my kids, my parents, doesn't matter from who. So when you're looking at two motions in our life, the giving and the taking are total different things. Huge polarity. Now, when I give, by the way, don't limit it to, a lot of people think giving is money. It's not only money. It can be my time. It can be my love. It can be my attention. It can be many different things. But not only that, the virtue, the advantage of giving is that when a person is constantly in a motion of giving, it puts that person in a certain type of energy, in a certain place, that's the disposition of the person, a giver. Now, giving too much is also not good. I'm not saying right now good or bad. I'm just saying the idea of giving, it's a great virtue because you help, you assist. You give from yourself. You go out of your way. And you can't say anything wrong with that. You can't say, oh, that person always helps. I can't stand it. Yeah, I mean, some people might be expressive in a way, oh, he's too good, I can't stand him. Okay, that's just being rude or mean. But you can't have a bad opinion on somebody because they're good. I mean, if you're jealous, that's a whole different thing. On the other side, when you're taking, the motion is that I take away from you, whether it's your time, your space, your money, whatever it is, your attention. So not only that I'm not giving to you or helping you any type of way, I'm now causing you a loss and a deficit. This is called selfish. Now, we're all selfish in one way or another. Don't hold the title that you're not selfish. We're all selfish. Some are very selfish. Some are a little bit selfish. A little bit selfish might be important and good at some times. But you can't be extreme selfish. Extreme selfish, you are a taker, you are a user. No good for any situation. People don't like users. Nothing good comes out of that. And again, I'm not limiting it completely because sometimes you need to be selfish. Sometimes you need to know how to put somebody in their place. This is my time, my space. Don't enter. And I'll give you an example of good selfish. I told you, Baruch Hashem, a man of many hats. You know this hat that I come and I teach you, but I have many other hats. I'm a clown for hire, for bar mitzvahs if you want. No, I'm not. But nevertheless, I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm doing many different things. So my day, to say the least, is very busy. Somebody told me something the other day, I want to come and visit you. When is a time that you're not busy? I said, when I'll die, Bezrat Hashem, it's not going to happen, then I won't be that busy. What do you mean when I'm not busy? So, why am I saying that? Because I said that many times in my classes that my relationship with my kids is one of the highest priorities on my agenda. So I cannot neglect my kids, not for anything. There were years that I would neglect my kids to deal with students, followers, community members, and at some point I was like, no. My kids come first, way before the needs of many other people. So I told you that many times that I, on the surface, try to give my kids as much as time and of my time as possible, but to make sure that they get a very special time, then every kid has once a week time with me, and they call it private time. Okay? Each one. I have an 18-year-old and a 3-year-old. Each one, their private time is completely different. With my 3-year-old, he's going to the, how do you call it? Not the zoo, the park, like a playground. Thank you. So with my 16-year-old, we'll go to a restaurant, whatever it is, it's irrelevant. And unfortunately, sometimes we're in public, people come up. Hey, Rabbi Anava, and my kids are like, if you ever see me with a child in the street, don't approach. Okay? My kids hate it. People come up. I have a question. Question. Is that question split into 16 parts? So that's when I need to be selfish. I need to be selfish and tell an individual, I'm sorry, I'm happy, we bumped into each other, I'm with my child right now. This is my half an hour with my child. I cannot attend your needs right now. Of course, to do it in a nice way, that's a positive selfish. If I would now push away the child and attend the needs of this individual, I'm not talking about an emergency right now, a life-threatening situation. That's being rude and not nice. It's actually being selfish to the child. So that's why I'm saying that, because selfish, sometimes you need to know when to be selfish. But let's put that aside and focus on the fact that if you are a taker, then that's a very bad trade of being selfish. With this short preparation comes a very big question. And I said that many times, probably in almost every class in the series of the Parasha, that most people, when they read the text, they zoom through the text. No questions come up. So if you read and no questions come up, then you didn't really read. And why am I saying that? Because we just said that I have two motions, giving and taking. How come the Torah calls giving taking? Did you notice that that's what it says in our parasha over and over? No? I'll remind you. Go to our weekly portion in the book of Shemot, chapter 25, verse 2. Vayikchu litruma. Right? That's the verse. That's how the parasha starts. What's the translation? Have them take from me an offering. Give me an offering. Take from me. And again, I told you many times, English translation doesn't always work well. In Hebrew, this is very clear. Vayikchu litruma. You don't take a donation. You give a donation. So why is the Torah calling giving taking? Now, if you read the first verse of our parasha, and that doesn't strike you, then what, you didn't read well. Because that should be like, whoa, there's a grammar mistake here. It should have said, you should give me a donation, not take from me a donation. And the translation I found, have them take for me an offering. What? Now, why is that so important? Because unfortunately in our generation, in our day of age, most people are takers. Nobody really gives. I will give if there's something in return. Very hard to find givers. Most people are takers. Where can I use you? But nevertheless, the Torah comes and tells us that to give is to take. What? Doesn't make sense, so we're going to talk about it today. And another thing that the Torah says that to give is really the taking, but that's the best thing you can do. So another verse that the Torah just comes and tells you something in a very not clear way. And here it doesn't matter if you read it in Hebrew or in English, because even when you read the English, and English is my second language, even in English it doesn't make sense. Right? Give me an offering. What take from me an offering? Now, right now I'm saying in this week's portion, and we're in Parasha Teruma, in case you don't know the name of the weekly portion, Parasha Teruma. We're starting a series of 5 parashot, 5 weekly portions, that it's the same topic. Nothing like this in the Torah, that the Torah dedicates 5 portions for the same topic. And of course, what's the topic? I will help you. It's the building of the Mishkan, right? The building of the tabernacle. 5 weeks we're going to read about the construction of the tabernacle that was resurrected in the desert. The house of God in the desert. And of course the commandment starts, Vasitim li migdash v'shachanti betocham, build me a sanctuary, I will dwell in you. Now here comes another interesting concept, and again, not judging anyone, but we're building a house for God, right? Wouldn't that make sense that He pays the bill? I need to build it for you? I mean, imagine now I'm a contractor, and you're coming and telling me, I want you to build me a home. No problemos. But can you pay for that? What? You want me to build you a home and I'll pay for that? Now, when it's between you and me, one can argue and say, I don't even know who you are. Here we're talking about the master of the universe. He's telling us, please build me a home and don't sell me the bill. I'm not giving any finance here. You raise the money. You finance that. And of course, being a very humble individual, one might say, okay, we're building a house to the creator of the world. But really you would think about it, and again, not being judgmental, that Hashem will say, yes, please build me a fancy home, I'll contribute to the construction. Or I'll cover the costs. It's almost like me saying to you, I want to buy you a birthday present, give me money. That's what my kids do. Can you give me money? Why? I want to buy you a present. So I'm buying myself a present, really, and you're just carrying it. I'm talking about the young ones, not the older ones that they work and have their own money. And there's nothing wrong. The kids are fine. They're asking for money. I mean, the excuse is to buy me a present. Yeah, my birthday is in Tishrei. Now you want to buy me a present? But nevertheless, why is Hashem asking us to gather funds, donations, contributions to build His home? I mean, it's a little bit, we'll call it now, not so clear. So the opening verse that we need to focus on, I'll read directly the translation. From every person, of course you have to gather, whose heart inspires him in generosity. Okay? Hashem is telling Moshe Rabbeinu, go to the people, start a campaign, open a GoFundMe page, right? Whatever it's called, charity. Open a campaign and ask for donations. What? Crowdfunding. Yeah, crowdfunding, whatever. Now everybody has a website. And go to every person, not to the rich. Go to every person and ask them to give something according to their generosity. So it's clear that Hashem is saying, go and get money. Okay. But there's a big but here. You shall take my offering. What? I didn't get that. Moshe Rabbeinu go and gather money, and you shall take my offering? Nothing makes sense here in how the text is presented the situation. And you know why? Because it says the word vayikhu. They should take. So I'm going to give the donation to take it. I mean, physically, I don't know. Not clear. Now let's run a little bit forward, okay? We have, I told you, 5 parashot now that we're focusing on the Mishkan. Next parasha will be Tetzaveh. Next parasha will be Kitisa. Next parasha will be Vayakhel. Vayakhel is talking about the story that in between, by the way, there's all sorts of events. One of the biggest events, of course, is the sinning of the golden calf. And because of that, Moshe goes up to the mountain 3 times. Right? Every time there's a negotiation, praying, pleading. Finally, after 3 times, 120 days, Moshe Rabbeinu comes down from the mountain on Yom Kippur with a second set of tablets, and Hashem says, I will forgive the nation. All because of the golden calf. Now Moshe Rabbeinu comes down from the mountain, and he comes with a commandment. What's the commandment? That you have to build a tabernacle to God. Okay? In the beginning, God said, I will appear and I'll be accessible to any. That didn't work. In the giving of the Torah, God spoke the first 2 commandments. It didn't take. It didn't hold. It was too much. So God tells Moshe, I forgive. And to show you that I've forgiven, please go build a house, a tabernacle, a mishkan. Tabernacle is the right word, but the word mishkan in Hebrew means a place to dwell in. So in Parasha Teruma, Moshe Rabbeinu hears it. In Parashat Vayakhel, he's commanding it to the nation. Now, let's go forward now a few chapters in the book of Shmot, to go to chapter 35, verse 5. And again, I have a problem. The verse says, K'chu mitchem truma laHashem. What? I'll translate for the ones who don't understand. Take from yourself an offering for the Lord. Give an offering. What do you mean, take an offering? Now it says, not only the word take, which that doesn't make sense. I want the next time somebody knocks on my door for charity to tell him, take. Can you imagine? Now comes another question. It says, Vayikhu. They should take. Who? Bituach Leumi? Who? Bituach Leumi is Social Security. Who? The nations, the neighbors, the bank? Who? And where? Nothing is clear. Where are we taking it? To the desert? Are we waiting with it till we come into Eretz Israel? They still didn't know they're not going into Eretz Israel, by the way. This is early stages. There was not the punishment that they're not going to Eretz Israel. They might say, okay, maybe now we're gathering the money, then when we come into Eretz Israel, we have the money. A, nothing makes sense. B, let's focus on the fact that the word has to be tnu, give, not take. You understand where I'm coming from? I don't understand that. Now we need to figure this out. Every time in the Torah that you have the word yukach, which the root of it is yud kuf chet, means to take. But every time you'll find the word in the Torah, in that root, it means to bring in. Okay? That brings birth to another major question. If everybody takes, right? Because it says you should all take their contribution, or in Hebrew, khu. If everybody takes, who gives? Right? Everybody's a taker, so who's going to give? What, the angels? What, Amalek is going to come and give presents? Let's go back to the first time something was given in the Torah. Can you quickly zoom through the parashot? When was the first time there was a giving? No? Matan Torah? Ooh, that's 2,000 years after the creation of the world. Well, when is the first time we find in the Torah the concept of giving? I'll make it easy for you. It's when Avraham Avinu brought the 3 angels into his tent. That's the first time in the Torah that you read about the concept of giving. If you want to find the reference, the book of Bereshit, chapter 18, verse 4. What does it say? Yukachna me'at maim. Please let a little water be taken. Remember the story? They're walking in the desert. They're very thirsty. Avraham Avinu is sitting outside the tent. He's looking for guests. He's in pain after the circumcision. He runs to these people with water. Here, please have some water. Yukachna me'at mayim. Please let a little water be taken. I never heard anybody inviting you into the home. Please, take food from the refrigerator. Here's food. Do you want? Do you want a cup of coffee? Please help yourself. Then it continues and it says, Va'ek chapat lechem. Translation, and I will take a morsel of bread. No, you're giving bread. Avram gave the bread. Why are you saying, and I will take bread? When it says the word va'ekcha, and I will take, really means va'etna, I will give. So why are you confusing me? Just say, I will give. Why you have to talk between the lines? Say straight out, I will give. Don't confuse the reader. There's a story with, not a story, an explanation, with Rav Soloveitchik. He's the father of the famous Rabbi Chaim Ibrisk. And he has a book called Bet HaLevi, the House of Levi. And he says something very, very, very interesting, very nice. He says, when you give something, really you are taking the merit. So if I give you now something, the action really is giving, but I'm taking a merit here. That's why the giving is called taking. That's why the giving is called taking. Very interesting, very nice approach, right? You need to start incorporating, when I give, really I'm taking. That's it. Very beautiful, very noble. Why is he saying that? Because he says something very simple. The only thing you take from this world, what is? Your good deeds. You don't take your money, you don't take your house, you don't take your diploma, you don't take your vaccine card, you don't take anything, right? They don't ask for your vaccine card in Shamayim. What do you take? Your good deeds. That's the only thing you can take. So really, what are you taking? What you gave. Right? My good deeds I gave, that's what you're taking with you. Beautiful. Your mitzvot, your good deeds, you helped people, you assisted, but it's all, it's all mitzvot, and you gave. So that's what you take. So the Torah says, the giving is taking. There's a story, I'll give you a quick story. I'm sure you heard about the commentary Abarbanel. Lived about 600 years ago in Spain. Not only that he was a great scholar, he was also a businessman and a politician. At some point he was the minister of finance to the king of Spain. And of course started a lot of jealousy, a lot of slandering, Lashon Hara. People were saying, why you have this Jew, the minister of finance? And usually when somebody good is good and successful, so starts bad-mouthing. So they came to the king and said, listen, he's in charge of all the money. We're thinking he steals. No way that you have the hand on the checkbook and the control on the banks and you don't steal. So the king got very upset. He says, you're right. Let's check him. He calls him up and he tells him, I want you to give me a report by tomorrow of everything that you own. Now Barbanel says, I don't need till tomorrow. Give me 20 minutes, I'll tell you. That's okay. He comes, writes everything down, gives the king the report. The king says, what, are you making a joke out of me? What, are you becoming a clown? You're writing to me the amount that you own? I gave you a property and I gave you a house, and those two are worth much more than what you put on the paper. Why are you trying to trick me? Of course, the king attacked him. The Barbanel says, no, my dear king. What I wrote on the paper is everything that I gave. Everything that you gave me and that I own belongs to you. I don't own anything. The only thing that I own is the charity and what I gave. That's the amount that I wrote to you. My house belongs to you. You can take it tomorrow. You're the king. My property, bank accounts, whatever it is, my horses, it doesn't belong to me. It belongs to you. I just wrote what I gave. And the Barbanel tells him, oh, you didn't ask me what I'm worth. You asked me what I have. And what I have is what I gave. Beautiful, right? So the Torah says, Vayikhu li truma. They should take from me an offering. You don't take an offering. You give an offering. The Barbanel says, לקחת את הזכות הגדולה של התרומה. What are you taking? The merit, the huge merit of the donation. Our sages say the merit of the one who receives is much greater than the person who actually gives. Why? Because the person who receives gives the merit to the giver. You understand? I know it sounded a little bit confusing. I will explain what it means. But look what he says. When you taking, I gave a donation. What am I taking? The merit. What did I give? 50 shekels? $100? You know what it means? The merit that I'm taking from myself, that cannot be taken from you. Doesn't matter what you're going to do. So really what you give is what you're taking. I'm sure you heard the story in many different versions. I will tell you in the version that I know about a certain individual who was very, very wealthy, came to the day that he died, and he ordered the lawyer to come and read the will before the burial. don't read the will before the burial. You read the will 30 days after. He left in the will and an instruction to the lawyer, you read the will when I'm still on the table, before you bury me. Okay, so they open the will, everybody's crying. And it says there, about the properties that I left you, read that in section 2 after 30 days. But before you put me into the ground, I have one last request. Bury me with my socks. What? All looking at each other, mumbling in the crowd, what are we going to do? Father said to bury with the socks. They call the rabbi. The rabbi says, we don't bury with socks. Who buries with socks? No, we cannot do that. Arguments, well, maybe trying to bribe here and there. Doesn't work. Can't bury with the socks. They don't know what to do. The final decision was, we can't bury with the socks. We have to disobey the will of our Father. With a very, very heavy heart, they don't listen and bury the body without the socks. 30 days later, they open the will to see the property, what was left. And he says there, I'm assuming that by now I'm already buried, and after the shloshim, after the 30 days, and I'm sure you also didn't bury me with socks, because I wanted to give you a lesson that you know that doesn't matter how much money you're worth, even the socks are not even going with you into the grave. The only thing that you take is your good name, your good deeds, your mitzvot, your Torah. That's the only thing you take. You don't take anything else from this world. Therefore, remember that when you are giving, really you're taking. You have to run after people to give. They're doing you a favor. The person that is taking from you, you have to thank them. Avraham Avinu ran to look for people. Right? He didn't put a message on, how do you call it, Shabbat.com? I need guests for Shabbat. No, you run out and you find them. Why? Because he understood the merit. So he ran. You don't wait for somebody to knock on your door to ask for money. You go out to the street. Because you have to remember, when you give, really you are the taker. You are the one who's benefiting the most. And on the same level, there's a famous story. I'm sure you heard about the king from Munbaz. The king from Munbaz, he's the son of Helena, the queen. Later on, it says that him and the brother got converted, and it doesn't matter so much. What's important to know is that the whole family donated most of the money to the building of the temple, of Bet HaMikdash. Okay? They donated a lot of money. And there's a question for the king of Munbaz, and it says, your fathers and forefathers gathered money, and you're giving that money to charity. And he says, no. And I'm translating, and my fathers put away money for others, and I'm for myself. What? So when he was questioned about this way how he expressed himself, he says, when you're giving to yourself. They question him, your father and your grandfather all gathered money, right? Kind of like, let's say, we'll call it now a social security, so they can give to others, right? You are taking it and you're giving charity with it. And he says, no, my fathers put away money for others. I put it for myself. So they didn't understand. So he told them, yeah, when I give to myself. My donations, I gave to you, but I really gave to myself. This is the best, how do you call it? Saving account, right? Most people, it's very hard for them to give. I'm losing. I'm going to be lacking now. Whether it's money, my space, my time. No. The more you give, you're getting. You're doing it to yourself. So the idea that we want to conclude right now to explain why the Torah is telling us when we're giving to take, is that when you give, really you're taking. Very noble, very nice, incorporate into your life, And understand that if somebody stops you and wants half an hour of your time and you're already rolling your eyes, he's going to take my time. No. You gave from yourself. You are the ones who are going to really get from it. That's how it is. Which in itself is very nice approach, very good to put in your arsenal, and remember that any time that you give, really you're giving to yourself. But there are many other ideas and explanations in regards to why the Torah says vayikhu, that they should take. That not only that you are giving, you are really taking. Okay, there's many ways to explain it. But really, our sages explains the taking is given. The taking is greater than the giving. Right? Why? Because again, when I give, I have to see how much I'm getting back. Now, I don't give in order to get back. When I give selfless, then what I gain from that is much, much greater. Pi kama vekama, much, much greater. So if this is the case, the Torah is not talking about giving, it's talking about the taking, because that's really much more powerful. The Torah is trying to emphasize, don't focus on the giving. Focus on what you gain from that. I told you many, many times the same story. I think it's appropriate now too. I told you that many years ago we went on a Shabbaton, a 3-day weekend in a hotel, and I was the main speaker there, and I spoke for the women, for the men, for the adults, teaching. And I couldn't stop talking. I didn't even eat for 3 days. That's how much they wanted me to talk. To the youth, to the kids, to the end of the 3 days. My wife asked me, "You are the key speaker. It was a hotel, big event. How much they paid you?" I don't know. I didn't ask. They didn't pay. What do you mean they didn't ask? You're out of your mind. Every normal speaker charges $5, $6, $7, $8,000 for such a weekend. What do you mean you didn't ask? You need to make money. You have children. You need to support the family. I said, I don't know. They didn't offer. I didn't ask. 10 months down the line, it was summer. My wife said, okay, we got to find a summer camp for the kids. A summer camp? I don't even have money to take them out for pizza. What do you mean summer camp? No, my kids are going to summer camp. Go find a summer camp and find the money. You know how much a summer camp costs for Jewish kids in California? So I found the summer camp. It was in 5 digits. Where am I going to get such an amount? And my wife was very persistent. No, my kids are going to camp. They're not staying at home. So I filed an application for the summer camp, and there was a section where you could ask for a scholarship. Thank you. I said, what am I going to lose? I filed the form. A few days later, calls me a man, Rabbi Anava, yes, my name is so-and-so. Nice to meet you. I'm calling from camp so-and-so. I'm reviewing your application. Do you remember me? I said, I'm sorry, I meet a lot of people. I'm sorry, I don't recognize the name. He tells me, you came to our community 10 months ago. Remember in that Shabbaton? Oh, yeah. How can I forget? So he tells me, you can't imagine the aftermath. 7 families kashered the kitchen. Women started going to the mikveh. We had minyans every day. You can't imagine how you changed what effect you did to the community. And then he tells me, to make a long story short, don't worry about the tuition for the camp. Pay for the uniforms and for the transportation, and the camp is on us. You can send your 4 kids to 6 weeks in camp. I think it was at the time maybe $26,000. Something like that, like $6,000 a child. See how much you get when you give? That's it. That's a perfect example, is that you give without asking, thinking, where am I getting? I'm losing sleep. It's not in the contract. When you focus on how much you get, you understand, wow, much greater than what I gave. So the Torah comes and tells you, Vayikhu li truma, take You have to understand. I'm not even focusing on the giving. Focus on what you're getting. So we started the class when I wished you a Chodesh Tov. Today's Chodesh, Rosh Chodesh Adar. We're getting excited. My kids are buying costumes. They came already home with some Hamantashins. And one of the major things that we focus on the whole of the Purim, just today somebody saw me early in the morning already telling me we're starting to prepare the Purim baskets. We're going to give a lot of mishlochei manot, the gifts. And in the Megillat Esther, chapter 9, verse 22, it says that we have 4 mitzvot on the day of Purim, right? All start with the letter Mem. I explained that already, which is very on the topic of the building of the Mishkan, because when we're building the Mishkan, it says, V'asitim leMishkan v'shachanti betocham. Build me a tabernacle and I will dwell in them. That's incorrect. I will dwell in it. Why in them? Betocham. Of course, so the commentary says, Betoch kol echad mimchem. You build a tabernacle and I'll build in you. But the Arizal takes the word betocham and he cuts it and it says betoch mem, in the mem. How do you write mem in the end of the word? It's a square, right? 4 corners, corresponding to the 4 mitzvot on the holiday of Purim. Let's start with mem. Mikra Megillah, reading of the Megillah. Mishteh v'simcha, making a feast. Matanot le'evyonim, right? Gifts to the poor people. And what's the 4th one? Mishlochei manot. Matanot le'evyonim, mishlochei manot. So Mikra Megillah, matanot le'evyonim, mishloach manot, mishteh v'simcha. Okay? Reading the Megillah, giving charity, giving food, and a feast. Now, interestingly, what does it say in the Megillah? I just told you. Chapter 9, verse 22. It says, Matanot la'evyonim, ish le're'ehu, u'matanot la'evyonim. Translation, gifts to the poor. Gifts. I'm giving a donation. I'm giving a gift. Why is he saying gift? Give donation to the poor. Makes more sense. What am I going to give you a gift? When I'm going to buy you a scarf? What do you mean a gift? Why do I need to give the poor person a gift? I give a gift to my wife on her birthday. I give the poor person food. I give him money. A gift. Why does he deserve a gift? I need to give the poor person a gift because he gave me the merit of giving charity. Thank you for coming to my door that I can give you some charity. You deserve a gift. If there wouldn't be a poor person, who would I give charity to? I miss out. I miss out the opportunity. The poorest person comes to my door, I give him charity and a gift. Thank you for coming. You saved me to walking down to the soup kitchen and finding you here and giving money. You have to start getting into the mindset. The Avraham Avinu mindset, running after an individual to help them. We run away from people to help them. The motion has to be, I have to run after another person to help them because that's what I get. Another interesting concept in the month of Adar, I mean, it's more connected to the month of Nisan, but now we're reading different haftarot on Shabbat, and one of them is called Parashat Shkalim. Remember the whole concept with the coin? We're going to be reading on Shabbat what's called Parashat Shkalim. Yes, sorry, you're right. But nevertheless, why am I saying we're going to? Because the Machatzit Shekel is coming later. But nevertheless, you're right, we read it. But what's Machatzit Shekel? It's talking about the coin, right? That you give half a coin and the whole concept. Moshe didn't know how to convince the people to give charity. Okay? Hashem tells them, explain to them the concept of the half of a coin. Okay, Moshe Rabbeinu tells him, what? What do you mean a coin? Can you show me what you mean? What does the Torah say? That Hashem showed Moshe a coin of fire, right? Fire. But Moshe Rabbeinu doesn't know how a coin looks. What is he asking Hashem? What do you mean a coin? And that Hashem has to show him a fire coin in fire? Hashem told Moshe, show them a coin with fire, or a coin of fire. Why? The only material in the world, I don't know if you can call it even a material, but the only thing in the world that doesn't lose of it when it gives is fire. Right? I have a cup of water now. I give you some water. I lost. I'm lacking. The only thing, the only material, the only substance, however you want to call it, in the world that doesn't lose anything when you give is fire. The contrary, it becomes double. If I am holding a flame now, I'm holding a candle, I'm lighting your candle. My candle lost fire. Am I diminishing fire? No. And not only that, it's now double. Anything else, doesn't matter what you're going to think of. When I give some of it, now I'm lacking. You have, but I'm lacking. Hashem told Moshe, oh, you want to convince them to give charity? Show them the coin. Moshe says, a coin? Yeah. Make them understand that when they give charity, they will never lose. You'll never lose by giving charity. Rather, it will be double and stronger. That's the promise that Hashem gives us on contribution, on charity, on giving. You're not really giving, you're taking. You understand the depth why the Torah is telling you take and not give? Because Hashem is telling you, don't look at the little act of the giving and think that you're losing out. You are the winner here. You are the taker. Doesn't matter if it's money, your time, your sofa on the couch. It doesn't matter. Because most people, even today, just in the morning, somebody told me how he spoke to, I forgot to which, like a big Rebbe here in Israel, and how he taught him that he came to him and asked for charity, and he came and gave him like a 200 shekel bill, and then after that he told him, give me back the 200 shekels, and he was like, I mean, you gave it to me for charity. And he took out a $100 bill, and he said, I mean, the $100 bill is much more than 200 shekels, and he didn't understand. And the Rebbe told him, originally my intention was to give you the $100 bill, and then my Yetzer Hara was like, why are you giving so much? Give half. So he gave the half. He says, but my real intention originally was the $100. I have to give you what the real intention was. Because when it's coming to give, yeah, you're all charitable and you want to help, but when it comes to actually give, you're thinking twice. Oh, maybe I shouldn't give much. Maybe I should give a little bit less. It's too much. And again, can be money, can be your time, can be your expertise, doesn't matter. But really, when you have the opportunity to give something from yourself, first of all, give what you intended in the beginning. Don't start counting. More than that, you are really the receiver. Don't look at yourself as the giver. Look at yourself as the one that's receiving. What am I getting good at? And again, don't do it all, give to good. 100%. You beat me to it. I'm only on page 5. I have another 2 pages. But he's right. Did you hear what he said? That's the only thing that God is allowing us to test him on. Bachanuni na bazeh. That's the only thing that God tells you. You want to test me on something? Give charity. Because the Talmud says, you want to be rich, give. Give 10%. If you give 20, you'll be even more richer. And if you don't believe, test me. Hashem says, don't test me, but don't even think of testing me or anything. But when it comes to money, you can test me. Put out, you'll see what you'll get. The Kadosh Baruch Hu understands that we have great difficulty to give. In theory, it works well. To actually give, very hard. And again, don't limit the giving to money. The other day, we drove somewhere. There's a person hitchhiking on the road. In my mind, I'm like, I don't want now a stranger in my car. I'm talking to my wife. I have phone calls, and my wife tells me, stop. Of course. You understand what I'm saying? Giving is not only the money. My thoughts were, it's an opportunity. I'm with my wife. I have half an hour in the car. When am I with my wife? Now maybe we'll have to entertain the person. Maybe we have to talk or whatever. I can't make my phone calls or whatever because it's not. And that's another type of giving. Somebody asks to sleep on you for 3-4 days. I can't. It's not convenient. So don't limit the giving to money. Giving can be from anything. Your time, your patience, your listening. So Hashem knows we have a great difficulty with giving. That's how it is. Hashem knows that. And the reason why we have a difficulty of giving, because we're afraid to lose my selflessness. I'm afraid to lose something of my own. My independence. My space. My surrounding. That's how it is. That's the reality. Put it to your test in your mind. Now, it's very easy to give to the ones you love. Now give to somebody you don't really like. Because a lot of people say, what are you talking about? I give, and I give, and I give. Yeah, you're doing great. But you enjoy giving because it's your kids, or your grandkids, or your husband, or people you love. When did you give to somebody you don't really like? That's when the giving is being tested. So, vayitnu, they should give. That's what the Torah says. If you want to get, if you want to take, give. You're praying all day long. I need money, I need a house, I need parnasa, I need to find my other half, I need health, I need my kids to listen to me. I need. Hashem says, you want to take, give. You want to make, you want to earn, give. That's how it works. The Hasidic philosophy approach of it is if my vessel is full, what can I take? I cannot take anything. My cup is full. Empty your cup, you'll have space now. You can get more. A Kabbalistic approach, expand your vessel. How do you expand your vessel so you can receive? You have to empty, you have to give. And that's what Hashem tells you. Give in, or give up from yourself. We're very selfish. I said that in the beginning. Most of us are selfish. Doesn't matter how you're going to look at it. But give up, give a little bit from yourself. You're the only one who's going to get from that. Rambam says, the greatest joy that a person, if he wants to reach to the highest level of joy, what causes you to be happy? Not your nice car. That nice car gets you from point A to point B. It maybe gives you a little bit of joy. Then what gives you joy? A movie, a joke, a vacation. Rambam says the highest level of real, true simcha can only be reached when you give. And don't limit it to I don't have. When I didn't have money, so I would give my time. I don't have time, then I'll give my money. I don't have time or money, then I'll give you my space. It doesn't matter. You can't limit it to something. And really, we all want to reach a place of simcha, of happiness. We have a lot to deal with in this world. All day long. One news after the other. You keep turning out one flame, whoop, comes another one. Everybody wants to be happy. Why are we looking for all these little excitements? Because we're searching for true happiness. So Rambam gives you the medicine. Go and give. Give from yourself. You'll reach a place of happiness. Which also on the same note, that's what Rambam says. What's the most important mitzvah on Purim? Not to eat the hamantashes, not to be dressed as a clown. Okay, so we have 4 mitzvot that we need to do. But what's the most important of all? No, I know you're saying to give. What's the most important? It's to be happy. That's the most important mitzvah in Purim. To be in a state of happiness. Mishenichnas Adar marbim besimcha. Adar comes in, increasing joy and happiness. Rambam says, what's the most important mitzvah in Purim? To be besimcha. To be in a state of happiness. How do you reach that? Matanot le'evyonim. Give the gifts to the poor. Not by drinking half a bottle of whiskey. That's just going to make you throw up. Okay, you have to drink on Purim. You don't have to be a lash. You need to drink, but the state of happiness comes from the giving. And why is that? Because the mitzvah is to be happy, and by me giving, I reach to a place of happiness. That's it. The small things that trigger happiness, that's not happiness. That's a laugh, a giggle. It's not real happiness. I see many times. Baruch Hashem, I told you, I wear many hats. I juggle many different things at the same time. I deal with a lot of things that on the surface, just today, you saw I came late. Dealing with all sorts of things. You don't see me upset, unhappy, sad, depressed, because these things don't affect the system. If you're in the motion constantly of focusing on the needs of others, then the distractions in your life, they're distractions. They don't take your joy and your happiness. So up until now, in order to conclude, let's conclude a few things. The Torah is calling giving taking. Right? That's the conclusion. That's not the conclusion. That's what the Torah, that's the fact. What do we take out from that? Number one, why taking? Because I take the merit. I gave you now 50 shekel donation, 100 shekel, doesn't matter. You got the money, I got the merit. You know what's going to happen with the $100 that I gave you? You'll spend it. I can't spend my merit. Right? That merit is for me for eternity. Cannot be taken ever. So, it's like in Hebrew it's called tabo. A deed, you have a deed, it's written on your name. So I really took. Number two, I take the blessing of Hashem. Everybody wants a blessing from Hashem, right? Every time we want a blessing from Hashem, what is associated? Give charity. Right? You go up to the Torah, you pray for somebody to be healthy, give a little bit of coins. I always teach that. Sometimes people don't understand. Why are you asking? Why are you telling us to give charity for this and that? Because that's how you open the blessing. You give a little bit from yourself, then you'll be able to receive. So why it's called taking? Because I'm taking the blessing of Hashem. Hashem is telling me, let me give you the loophole. You want my blessing? Give. That's it. So really you're not giving, you're taking. Number three, I take the wealth that is connected to the giving. The blessing of Hashem is one thing, but I also take the wealth, and that's exactly what you were saying. You beat me to it. Hashem says, test me. You want wealth? Give. Give, you'll take. There's no other way here. Now I know a lot of people say, what are you talking about? I donated here and donated there and it didn't work. So just on that, I can give a 3-hour lecture. Why? First of all, maybe you were in minus 200,000. You got 100, but it got swallowed into the minus that you had. It doesn't mean you didn't get. Right? That's what a lot of people don't understand. If I'm now owe the bank 200,000, and I got from here 100,000, but they took the money right away into my debt, did I not get? You got. But it got swallowed in your debt. Don't complain you didn't get. That's number one. Number two, do I know what sins a person is doing that can chas v'shalom come in an indirect way or direct way to affect the money that you are getting? I mean, that's what I told you. There's a lot of ways how to explain it. Because I know a lot of people will tell me, what are you talking about? I give charity all the time. I don't have any money. But it's not always about money. Sometimes you give charity, it doesn't mean you're going to get a check in the mail. You were, so to say, let's call it, there was a decree that you'll get into an accident, and now the fixing of the car will cost you 10,000 shekels. Or you have to pay somebody damages. You gave 10 shekels, that was removed. You maybe didn't get the check, but a decree was removed. Right? And there's a famous quote, "Tzedakah tatzil mimavet," charity will save you from death. So you might not get physical money, but you don't know where the blessing is coming from. So again, I don't want to now sidetrack to the fact that I know that people will tell me I give a lot of money and I don't see a blessing. First of all, you might have a hole in the bottom, and the blessing just comes out. There's no responsibility or guarantee for that. I told you that a few years ago, we were preparing here the place for Shabbat. I took that big hot water urn, this big, 50 liters, and I put it under the tap. I opened the water, and while it's filling up, I go around and do things. I come back after a few minutes, thinking the whole thing will be half full. Nothing. I'm like, what's going on here? Okay. I look, the water's coming in. Okay. I go out, clean, sweep, organize, whatever. Come back again after a few minutes, expecting the whole thing to be full, completely empty. Like, what's going on here? Maybe I'm losing my mind. And like that 3 times. And then I didn't understand. How come it's not full? And what did I notice? You know, that little thing that you lift up for the water to come out to make a cup of tea, that was up. So I was pouring water in, but there was a hole in the bottom. All the water was coming out. So maybe Hashem is giving you a lot of blessings, but you have a flat tire in the bottom from your Lashon Hara, from your whatever you did. So all the blessing is running out. You did something you didn't get. You just don't know how to hold it. So there are many angles to explain to a person that says, I give a lot, but I don't see a blessing. First of all, not always the blessing is obvious. Many times the blessing comes in a way that you don't even realize how lucky you are. You were saved from a lawsuit. You were saved from a car accident. You were saved from this or that. But the fact is that when you give, why is it called taking? Because you're taking the wealth that you deserve from the Master of the universe. And if you are doing good, you'll feel that wealth. And not necessarily in your bank account. The wealth can be an amazing relationship with your wife. You know what's the acronym of the word Ashir in Hebrew? Ashir means wealthy or wealthy. The other day somebody told me something. I told him, I'm a millionaire. He's like, really? I said, yeah, you know what the acronym of Ashir in Hebrew is? Ayin for Ashir is Anaim. Shin for Ashir is Shinaim. Yud is Yadayim. And Resh is Raglaim. Hands, eyes, teeth, hands, feet, legs. You have all 4, you're very blessed. Try to be a few months without teeth. I made some teeth treatment in my wife. Half a year, no teeth. Not talking about the pain and the all the rest that comes with it. Legs, hands, eyes. Hey, thank you. You're rich. So don't always translate things to money. A lot of people say, oh, I gave, I don't see any blessing. Your kids are good kids. Your wife treats you nice. You're rich. The blessing came in an emotional way, in a spiritual way, in many other things. You go to the bank, instead of standing in line for 2 hours, you go in. That's a blessing. The other day I sent also, my wife had to go to the bank, comes back after 2 hours. What's going on? Don't ask. There was only one teller and a line from here to there. I don't know, when I go into the bank, it's empty, nobody there, like as if it's a holiday. Why? That's a blessing. Now, not that I'm telling you that my wife is not blessed. I'm just telling you, sometimes I go places, no line to wait. That's not a blessing? I drove the other day somewhere, no traffic the whole way. Sometimes it's in traffic, like that, for 3 hours. That's not a blessing? Everything is a blessing. It all depends how you look at it, how fast things move in your life. When you need to deal with certain agencies and clerks and offices, now don't limit your blessing to money. But nevertheless, you give, you are taking this wealth from Hashem. And last but not least, which would be the most important, when you give, the Torah says you take, you know why? You take the heart of the person that you gave to. And that's priceless. When you win over the heart of another individual because you came to the rescue, so you really took, you didn't give. Okay, I'm sorry to tell you, but up until now that was the introduction to the class. Okay? So I'll try to be fast and to conclude. That is really the introduction. Hashem is commanding us to take and not to give. Think about it for a few seconds. You know why? Why is Hashem commanding us to give, to take and not to give? Not to be happy. Because you cannot command to give. At least at that point. Hashem could not command us to give at that point. He could only command us to take. I'll explain. The commandment to give, Hashem told Moshe, build a collection mechanism, or what we will understand in our day, a website, GoFundMe, charity. Build some mechanism that can accept donations. That if somebody wants to give, you have how to take. I want to now receive donations. Do you have a charity box? No. Do you have a website? No. Do you have a bank account? No. What do you have? How am I going to give you? Hashem is commanding Moshe Rabbeinu, build a mechanism that can take. Okay? That's the commandment. Not to give. So there wasn't a commandment to give, rather Hashem says, I didn't ask that. I didn't tell you to give. The concept of building the Mishkan was that people will come and say, I want to be part of it. Okay? If Hashem would command us, then it came from the commandment. Hashem says, I want you to build a system that people will come and say, I want to contribute. I want to be part of this. Total different way. I'm not commanded, I'm not forced, I'm not pushed, I'm not convinced. I just have a system. I want to give. The idea of the Mishkan was to fund the money, to legayes kesef, to collect the money, but that Hashem will pay. Really, because Hashem says, it's my house. I'm not expecting you to pay. So, what was the concept behind the Mishkan? That we gather money, we fund money, or we collect funds in order for Hashem to pay. The donations really that came in, that set the moment that we gave back to Hashem. Because in Matan Torah, in the giving of the Torah, Hashem came down to the mountain and gave us the Torah. Right? It wasn't forced. We didn't buy it. We didn't acquire it. It was given to us. That's why it's called Matan Torah. I gave it to you. When we give something back, it's basically us saying, in other words, we accepting your Torah. We exchanging, so to say, gifts. Kind of like they do now, big presidents, kings, they meet, they exchange gifts. What did I say? Not exchange, exchange. Right, you give, one gives to the other. So when we give something to Hashem, it's us declaring we're accepting the Torah. We're accepting your gift. Saying, in other words, not how much you're willing to pay, right? That's not considered a great virtue. To say yes, everybody can say, right? It's like I told you before. You put money in your pocket. Your intention was to give $100. The end you give 50. To say yes is very easy. Yeah, come to me tomorrow. I'll have something for you. But how much are you willing to give? That's a whole different thing. So to say yes, we're accepting the Torah. Okay, let's see. How do they say in English? Put your money where your mouth is. So when the Mishkan was in construction, and we came to pay, to donate, to contribute, That was the opportunity for us to enter into the covenant with God. God says, I'm giving. Not commanding. I'm giving. So the Mishkan was the opportunity for us to step forward and say, we're giving too. We're coming into a covenant. You can't come into a covenant when one side gives. Right? You agree or disagree? You can't come into a covenant if only one side gives. Hashem says, I gave something. What are you giving? What are you giving? So Hashem told Moshe, just build a system to collect. Not telling you to command them to give. Build a system. We need a website. We need a company, a non-for-profit. We need a bank account. We need charity boxes. We need credit card machines. That was the commandment. Why? Because I want them to come, each one according to their generosity, and give what you can. Hashem says, I don't want to command you to be my slave. I want you to come and say, I want to give. What can I do? What can I do to help? We asked, so we cannot be commanded for that. Right? We asked to come into a covenant with God. So we can't be commanded to do that. It has to come willingly. It has to come from me. It's not like maybe in some cultures that a man comes to a woman, you're going to be my wife. Well, maybe that works in different cultures. In normal cultures, they come together. I want to be your husband, you want to be my wife. Right? So really giving can only come from you. I can force you now to do a lot of things. But that's not really giving. I forced you. Whether it's to help me clean the house, carry the whatever, the groceries. I teach my kids to come and help because they want to come and help. I don't force them to clean the house or force them to clean the room. They'll do it. I'm stronger. They'll do it. But that's wrong education. Because they'll do it only when I ask. I need to teach my kids, it's your house. You want to clean. It's for you, not do me a favor. If I'm able to relay the information that my kids want to participate, dayenu. That's enough. If you force somebody to do something, yeah, they might do it. So, really the giving is that it has to come from you. That's why Hashem says you have to understand that you are the one that's receiving, but you have to initiate. You have to come. There's a story, and again, doesn't matter if it's real or not real, but a certain individual really didn't like his wife. He goes to the rabbi and he says, listen, I can't stand her. I don't want a divorce. She'll take all my money. Can you do some curses, something to wipe her out? I'm saying it might not be a true story, but I think it is it can be based on a true story. So the rabbi tells him, let me meditate, let me do some hocus pocus. He reads holy scripts and he comes and tells him after half an hour, it can be done. I can take care of it. But it comes with one condition. You have to be nice to her and make her happy for the last month of her life. And then I'll do my thing and we'll knock her out. We'll get her out of the picture. But you have to be nice to her for a whole month. Okay. Starts the first day. He says, it's worth it. It's worth it. I'll be nice to her for 1 month. Then we get rid of her. No divorce, no alimony, no nothing. So the first day he asks to go home early from his boss. He comes home early, cleans the house, puts everything together. The wife walks in. She was like, what's going on here? He's like, honey, for you. Wow. 30 years he didn't do nothing. Now he's cleaning the house. Next day he comes home early from work, cooks a nice meal. She comes home. He never cooked a meal. Now he's cooking me a meal. The third day, he comes home early from home, irons the clothes, washes the wash, everything. She comes home expecting to fall into a dirty, messy house. Nothing, everything. She was like, wow. Now she has the guilt. It's not nice. He's doing so much. I should do something for him. She starts massaging him. So he does the next day something nice. She says, now I owe him something nice. She does this, backwards and forwards like this. After a month, the rabbi calls him and tells him, okay, the time is up. Should I say the magic word to knock her out? The man says, can you give me an extension for a year? You got the point. Hashem says to Moshe Rabbeinu, take, but from whoever wants to give. We're not bending hands here. You only take for whoever comes. The beauty of the Mishkan is that we built it. If Hashem would build it, I asked you before, shouldn't He pay for the construction? The beauty is that we built it. I told you already something very, very powerful. A, we weren't commanded to build the Mishkan, and we weren't asked. We volunteered. Why is that so beautiful and profound? There's something in our nation, and could be in other nations too. I'm not limiting it to other nations, but in our nation we have something that we don't forget things. Half of what we do is remember what we did, right? We have a holiday based on remembering something. This holiday will be celebrated in a month and a half. The whole holiday of Pesach, we left Mitzrayim. When did we leave Mitzrayim? What was the condition of the dough? Did the dogs bark? No, they didn't bark. We have a list. We remember every little thing that happened up until today. Our nation doesn't forget nothing. But the most holiest place in the world, totally forgotten. What's the most holiest place in the world? And I know you're going to say Yerushalayim. I will say no. It's Har Sinai, the mountain where we got the Torah. Okay, I know might be some arguments. One of the most, if not the most holiest place in the world, where God descended on the mountain and we received the Torah. The ceremony was over. The mountain goes back to the same status it was before. Uvimshoch hayovel, once the trumpet stopped, go up on the mountain. That's what it says in the Torah. While the ceremony is happening, anybody who will come close to the mountain will die. The second the ceremony is over, just another mountain. Do you know where Har Sinai is? No. Such a holy place, we don't even know where it is. There's no commemoration, something. Yerushalayim, one of the most, if not holiest places in the world, is destroyed. The Kedusha is still today there. The holiness is still there. So how come the city of Yerushalayim and something as holy as the Mishkan still has the Kedusha? It's part of our nation. You know, I mean, we don't know really where the Mishkan is. We talked about it. There's one opinion that says that the Mishkan is buried in Yerushalayim somewhere. And I told you there's other opinions that the Mishkan is here in Tzfat, buried somewhere here. But one thing we know for a fact, when Mashiach is going to come, he's going to pull the Mishkan, the vessels out. It's going to be reused. The Kedusha of the Mishkan still remains. I told you already, again, we're not going to get into that. There are some sources that are pointing that the Mishkan is buried here in Tzfat, therefore there's great holiness and some powerful force here in Tzfat. It's irrelevant at this point. The Mishkan was not used for over 3,000 years. How come the Kedusha, the holiness, still exists in it? Same thing with Yerushalayim. How come that we didn't forget? How come we forgot the Har Sinai, Mount Sinai, but not the Mishkan? But not, sorry, how come we did not forget Yerushalayim and the Mishkan, but forgot Har Sinai? We don't forget anything. Har Sinai was holy because Hashem came on the mountain from above. So that doesn't remain. Yerushalayim, we built. The Mishkan, we built. It came from us. So the Kedusha, the holiness remains. Because what changes you, when you give in, when you back off, when you change, it will remain. When you change the world. When Hashem does something, doesn't mean that it's going to hold. Hashem came down on a mountain, from above to below, removed, that's it. We didn't do anything there, we just stood there. But the Mishkan, we built. Bet HaMikdash, we built. You know why the Kotel HaMaravi, the Wailing Wall, never fell? Okay, some say because David HaMelech built it. No, it's because that wall was funded with the charity of poor people. The Romans, the Babylonians. Nothing moved this wall because it was built by the poor people. The Mishkan was built by us. The Bet HaMikdash was built by us, not by Hashem. Hashem says, if I build the Mishkan, no problem. I'll finance the project. It won't have the same Kedusha. It won't remain for 3,335 years till Mashiach comes. You build it, it will remain. Why? Because when you change, then it affects.
They say the third temple already built.
You're right. They say that the third temple is going to be built. There's a lot of explanations to that because there's the physical third temple and the physical. The spiritual and the physical. The physical third temple we will build, and once the structure is there, the spiritual Bet HaMikdash will come down from Shamayim, like the soul to a body, and will merge. But the physical Bet HaMikdash we build. The spiritual one is built in Shamayim by our mitzvot. But to conclude, when you change yourself, this is the main point you have to take here. When you change yourself, you change the world. If I make an effort to help, to give, to accept, to close my mouth, to move aside, doesn't matter. I initiated it. I wasn't forced to. Nobody told me, shut up. I chose not to talk. I chose not to react. I chose to give, to change. My choice, my change will remain. I make the world completely different. Hashem says, I'm not intervening. I tell my kids, I can force you to do whatever I want. You're under my restriction right now. You're under my roof. I pay for everything. I call the shots. I can be a father like that. But I want my kids to understand, internalize, and do it themselves. That the change is done from them, not from me. Hashem says the exact same thing. I don't need to build you a Mishkan. I'll build 20 of them. You need to build one for me. You have a connection. And it's not only about the Mishkan. Hashem says you need to change. You need to give in. You need to move aside. Therefore, the Mishkan and Yerushalayim are still holding the Kedusha. Because it came with sweat. It came with a lot of hard work. So what you need to take from that is that really Hashem wants you to change so it will come from you. That you're not going to be commanded to do something, that you choose to do it. Therefore you're not giving, you are taking. Therefore, the giving by a commandant is not giving. I'll say it again. Giving by being commanded, that's not giving.